is happening? What is happening? Yes. Yes, I think we're live. Hello. Hello, everybody. It's warm. Wow. What a day, what a week, what a life. On to good live stream. Let's start with a song, just as always. Show me the way, my goddess. Watch me the wonder to love and to be. Show me the way, my goddess. I welcome you to live in me. Show me the way, Great Spirit. Help me to see you in all that I see. Show me the way, Great Spirit. I welcome you to live in me. I welcome you to live in me. Light of my past, my love light. Show me the future in all around me. Light of my past, my love light. I welcome you to live in me. Show me the way, ancient mother. Teach me the secrets on how to live in peace. Show me the way, ancient mother. I welcome you to live in me. I welcome you to live in me. Show me the way, my goddess. Watch me the wonder to love and to be. Show me the way, my goddess. I welcome you to live in me. I welcome you to live in me. I welcome you to live in me. Happy, what's it called? We have the festival of the goddess, right? In India, right now. Navaratri? Is that what it's called? Yeah, I think it's Navaratri. The goddess, love from the universe. Good to see you, brother. No, not a downward spiral. I wouldn't call it a spiral. It's more like life is happening, you know? It's just death is part of life and injury is part of life. And sometimes we feel sad or angry or we feel pain. I wouldn't call it a downward spiral, you know? It's all these emotions that are just inevitably coming up while life continues to happen. But it's interesting. I want to talk about this a little bit more around these emotions, right, that we experience as a human being, walking around on this earth, and what we can do with them. What are we to do with them, right? Was it Lake District earlier today? Great, good to hear. Man, I think you've been in Spain, right? Wasn't that you? With the whole crew over there? I think it was you, right? I followed it a little bit. Yeah, nature's healing. Nature's healing us. You know what else is healing us? The word of the guru. the Siri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. That's what I'm reading at the moment, each morning. It's really hitting on this aspect of the one and selflessness. I like it. It's good to reflect upon. It kind of almost, I don't know. Yeah, it's really hitting on that aspect. It's good to remember like how insignificant this sense of self is, and significant at the same time, right? Let's read a few passages, just some short ones, maybe even contemplate them together. Was great, psych trip at Spain. Yeah, it was you, I remember. Man. Hey, bro, Spokessa, sorry to hear about your dog. Yes, actually, it was not my dog. It was the dog of my parents. But you know, what's hitting me really hard about it is it was such a young one. You know, he was. You could see in the thumbnail, right? It was this tiny little dog, and my parents got him like 2 years ago, as a baby, as a little doggo puppy, and now he passed away yesterday, because of running onto the streets, getting hit by a car, and it's tough. You know, it's like God's ways are just not. We can't grasp them with our human minds. It's like we're like, why? It's like he was such a good boy, you know. He brought so much joy to my siblings, who are like 5 and 6 right now, to my parents, especially my mom, and it also grew really deep into my heart. And then it's like, and it's just 2 years old, this little boy, 2 years, and now he just passed away. He continued on his just soul's journey, and that's what I was saying. It's like our mind cannot grasp why. It's not. It's like I'm asking myself, do I need to understand? I think I don't, right? It's like, do I need to contemplate or just trust in life that this was the best thing that could have happened? And it's always hard to see it in the moment, right? When things like an injury, a death of a loved one, or I don't know, financial distress, when anything that feels bad is happening, we can't understand it in the moment. We're doubting ourselves and God and the love of the universe. I don't know, yeah, but in retrospect, I often find that these moments are like great moments, great catalysts for change, for transformation. And like looking back at some of my toughest moments in life, I'm like, I grew from these so much, like more than I grew from any other experiences. And then I'm like, okay, I'm grateful now. I can see this. I'm happy that this happened in exactly the way it happened. But when you're like in the midst of it, a family member is struggling with mental health, dog dies, you're feeling the pain of the injury, it's tough. Oh man, it's tough, but also so beautiful. You know, I got the message yesterday that the dog passed away, and I wrote something for my website, which you can check out, by the way. Link is in the video description. It's not done yet, but I'm working on this pretty cool landing page for the Psychonauts Path to Purpose program. Let me know if it resonates. I'd love to know and get some feedback from you guys. What was I saying? Yeah, I got the message, and then I stopped working, and I just sat and began to cry because it was so like unbelievable. And then this crying is happening, and then I was singing some songs, reading in some scriptures, like really connecting to the divine and to that trust that even if I feel sad, even if I feel low, even if I don't understand, it's like, this is so beautiful to be able to feel all this, to feel the confusion, to see the pain, to feel, yeah, just to feel through it all. Feel through it all. And I recognized, like, in the moment even, it's like it was such a beautiful sensation to just like not hold back anything, not try to push down anything, but like face reality head on, like instantly, just like, this is what it is now. Great. Like fantastic. Let's feel that, let's work with that, let's move through that, one breath at a time, one step at a time. We're gonna come out the other end. And the only thing that keeps us suffering is our sense of self, right? It's a bit interesting, but it's like there's the truth of Buddhism, right? The Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. It's like it's the truth of suffering. We're suffering. The truth of the end of suffering. There's a possibility that suffering can end. The truth of the path that leads to the end of suffering. Right? Oh, I forgot the cause. The cause of suffering. And this is it. We can. It's like it's possible to be free from suffering. Suffering is an interesting one. Yeah, let's talk about suffering. I love to hear what you have to say about suffering. Well, like what is suffering? Because it's like with the Buddhists and a lot of the spiritual kind of dudes and Judeans, when you talk about the end of suffering, and it's like, it sounds very nice, right? It's like, yeah, who doesn't want that? But then there's like such a variety of flavors of awakening, which kind of all describe similar things, but they have different flavors of like the end of suffering. Okay, peace, freedom, liberation, right? Love, embodying infinite love, appreciation, nothingness. It's like it's all these words, all these different flavors of awakening on the spiritual path. But it's like, I found that on the path of my journey, it's like I haven't even been that interested in the end of suffering. Maybe I haven't suffered enough. I'm getting there, right? I'm gaining experience. Jason, what's up? Good to see you. But like, I'm not interested in the end of suffering that much, because I find as well that there's a certain sense of beauty in the suffering as well. It's like, when I reflect on my life, as I said, it's like this: the suffering has been the greatest catalyst for my journey. It's like it's the fastest path almost to awakening. It's suffering. I think it's Meister Eckhart that talks about this as well, or many, like some mystics and saints talk about this sensation that suffering, like if you want to go fast on your spiritual path, just suffer, just like endure infinite suffering, and you're gonna get there, whatever there is, as fast as possible. Otherwise, if you sit on your cushion meditating 10-20 minutes a day, it's like, what kind of progress is this? Suffering is overrated. I think it's, yeah, overrated. Beer bliss all day. It's almost underrated. I feel like it's almost underrated. People want to escape suffering, but embracing suffering, that's where it's at. It's like, oh man, this dog died. Now I am suffering. And I am joining us. Is it even suffering then? If I say like, okay, if I can, that's kind of my approach, cultivating a deep sense of love and appreciation for whatever is appearing in reality. And if I then say like, okay, the pain that I'm feeling, the tears that I'm feeling, the shame, anger, sadness, all this is just like I can truly proactively appreciate it and like embrace it and take it on and feel it through. I feel like I'm not suffering. It's like it's not, it's painful, but it's like, in my experience, it's not suffering that much. And then sometimes it does feel like suffering, but that's what the mind makes it to be, right? It's like it's a choice almost to choose suffering ultimately. But then in certain situations, it just gets so tough, it just gets so intense that you're like, it almost feels like you don't have another choice than just to choose to suffer in this very moment. I love this topic. But yeah, also with the injury, like I injured my ankle. I don't know if you see this, but this is like, it's fat. It's like, it's not, that's not normal. I was running my first half marathon today. And like after 10-20 minutes, I twisted my ankle, stumbled across, like, ah! I immediately felt it. I was like, fuck, damn. Like, what am I gonna do? Because it's like, it never happened. Not once during my training. I wasn't even training that much. I was just like running my usual rounds. It's like, it never happened to me in my whole life when I was running that I twisted my ankle. And then it happened like right at the beginning of this half marathon that's just happening once a year here in my city. And I'm like, am I gonna stop now? It hurts. It hurts really, really, like a lot. And then I kind of crippled along for a kilometer. And then I was like, fuck it. Okay. It's like I push magical, spiritual, fairy dust healing energy into my ankle to heal it immediately. Pray to God that nothing worse is going to be happening, because I am going to finish this race. And so I did. Actually, a pretty good time as well. This was my number, the 3369, also a very significant number for me. I'm not that much into numerology, but it's a appearing number for me in all kinds of phases of my life, so that's interesting. I don't know what to do with this, but I did it. I finished the race, and in a pretty good time. And I was like, I think it was 1 hour 45 minutes, 21 kilometers. I think that's pretty good. And then I finished the race. And I was like, now it starts to hurt. And the pain, oh, so juicy. I haven't had such great physical pain. Haven't had it in a long time. Well, I am kind of suffering physically, right, from my sickness. Which, by the way, is a little bit better now, after I did my cleanse and I'm eating a lot of healthy greens. But yeah, there's like immense pain. But even there, coming back to the suffering, in my perception, I wasn't suffering. Like, not at all. Even though the pain was like at an 8 out of 10, I wasn't suffering one little bit. It's like, okay, now it's like this immediate acceptance, but not like this is what it is, but it's like it's a true acceptance, an unconditional acceptance of every single moment, of every single appearance, of like, this is what it is now. Wow, cool. Let's feel the pain and then see how we're gonna manage next week. And see what is up, what is happening, how am I going to navigate back to my home with this pain? Where am I going to find a doctor? Great. Where are we going to bury the dog? It's like, okay, life goes on. And instead of like, the mind likes to attach so much to these events, right? And then it gets stuck in those events. was like, oh, this is happening, and oh, that's so bad. Now I can't do this next week, and I had these plans. Now I can't drive my car. I can't do this. It's like, how am I gonna get groceries? And it's like it spirals into the worries about the future and like the like judgment of the past of what has already happened. But it's like just excluding both of these is like, okay, this is a moment. This is what it is. How are we gonna deal with this? That's kind of how I approach it nowadays. And it's way more fun to live life this way. Just to embrace with this unconditional acceptance and love as well. Even though it's tough. Spokcast is asking, you're still sick? What are your symptoms? Right now it's just my nose is a bit running. My nose is running a bit. It's a bit blocked. Otherwise, usually it's my throat hurts and sometimes I get like weak, exhausted, headaches. But actually all of these symptoms, even the nose, it's been getting better. Like it's been 11 months now. And since I completely shifted my diet to almost no fats and just like fruits and veggies, I feel much better. Did like a medical medium 369 cleanse. That's what it's called. Drinking half a liter of celery juice and lemon water in the morning, and I feel much better. Like I feel like all the symptoms, it's like they reduced. When I feel something like my nose is running and I feel this coming up, it's not breaking out anymore. Usually it was breaking out. 69. Usually it was breaking out into like full-blown exhaustion, not being able to move for a couple of days, and then just like laying in bed and suffering. And well, it's not suffering, but oh yeah, sometimes I was choosing to suffer consciously. And body pain as well. Then my whole body just starts to hurt. Yeah, those were the symptoms. Oh, lemon ingwer tea with honey. I love it so much. So I'm gonna keep these changes in the diet. Gotta experiment a little bit with what's okay. Like if I can eat peanut butter, for example, at certain moments, because I love peanut butter. But it really speaks to the importance of diet. Like diet affects everything. And I feel like fundamentally better from the core of my being with this new way of eating. Ugh. I pulled the heater down. It's way too hot in here. Actually I should rest my ankle like upwards, but I'm not doing this. And this is just gonna worsen it. Oh! Pain. Glorious pain. Can you still see me? Laying back like this. I'm enjoying. Yeah. Let's read something. Because I think the scriptures and the words of truth that we can read and contemplate together are good pointers in our life to see and bring awareness on how we want to approach a certain situation. So here's some words from the Siri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Pay attention. It's good. Like I'm reading it every single morning. It's really interesting. Look at this first sentence. Cursed is emotional attachment and love of Maya. No one is seen to be at peace. What I don't like about the phrasing of the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, it's like the spiritual scriptures from the Sikh, is that it's true what they're saying, but they're phrasing it in a way that everybody that is lost in the illusion of the world is lost in Maya, and everybody is like cursed and doomed to hell, to live in hell forever. And it's true. Like, that's what it is, basically. We're all gonna just like suffer endlessly if we're still caught in this illusion of what they say is Maya. But why be so harsh in your phrasing? It's like but cursed is emotional attachment and love of Maya. So this speaks to this sense of suffering. It's like if we emotionally attach to anything happening in reality, basically, in life, in our human life on this earth, then we're going to be suffering. We're cursed to suffer because we have emotional attachment. Because only through emotional attachment to something there can be, like, it can be taken away, right? For example, the dog, or my leg, my foot, right? It's like my way of walking. It's like I was attached to this emotionally attached to the dog, to the loved one, to a certain state of my body. And then it breaks away, and then from that I feel suffering because I love Maya. And then also my mind wants to control Maya, right? It wants to control reality. It wants to control my life and say, like, I want it to be this way and not any other way. Because only then I love it. Only then I can appreciate reality. And that leads to disturbance. As it says, no one is seen to be at peace. No one is seen to be at peace who is emotionally attached or in love of this illusion. Interesting one. God is wise, giving, tender-hearted, pure, beautiful, and infinite. He is our companion and helper, supremely great, lofty, and utterly infinite. He is not known as young or old. His course is steady and stable. Whatever we seek from him, we receive. He is the support of the unsupported. Seeing him, our evil inclinations vanish. Mind and body become peaceful and tranquil. With one pointed mind, meditate on the one Lord, and the doubts of your mind will be dispelled. He is the treasure of excellence, the ever-fresh being. His gift is perfect and complete. Forever and ever worship and adore him. Day and night, do not forget him. I feel like it's a bit hard to grasp, right? At least in like my current state of consciousness, just reading about this one-pointedness and this union with God, with the One, it seems so far away, because I am in duality, like I am lost in illusion. Distracted, drinking a tea, thinking, when should I eat the entistry? I want to eat. I want to smoke. And it's like, yeah. It's like, what does it even mean? It's like to keep God in mind at every single moment. As it says, forever and ever worship and adore him, day and night. Do not forget him. Do not forget him. What does it mean to not forget God? Because it feels like as soon as it's about me, God is gone. And everything is about me all the time. right? And then it's interesting. I don't know if you've made the same observation, and I try to counter this with my habits and reading the scriptures and sitting and serving. It's like to cultivate this sensation of selflessness, but like to not forget God when everything is going well. I think that's the challenge for a lot of people, because I've recognized in my life, it's like when something is going wrong, it's like a loved one dies, as I said, the dog dies, or I'm injured. It's like I pray. I'm going through my spiritual crisis. I pray. I'm like, why God? Please, I can only hold on to you, and I strengthen my commitment to serve you and trust you and be with you. And then when everything is going just like good, I forget God. I put him to the side. It's more about me. What I want to create, what I want to do, what I prefer. So much is about us all the time. Damn. And that circles back to suffering. One of the first principles and truth I have learned on my spiritual path, I entered through Zen. My journey kind of began with Zen Buddhism, and the teachings of Zen. And the almost one of the first phrases that resonated with me was, "No self, no problem." I was shooting a YouTube video back then on the German channel about basically life philosophy, or a way of seeing things that doesn't include problems, because all problems are just illusions. And all problems, every single problem that you have, that you define as a problem, it's deeply intertwined with your relationship to yourself, right? So, no self, no problem. That's the phrase. That's one of the first phrases that I kind of took on as a principle for my path. And again, easy to forget it. So easy to forget it. It's like no self. When there's no self, there's no problem. There's no problem. There's just peace. And life. Life is just like, it's a thing. Then basically to die before you die. To then just like, then life is still gonna happen through you. But then when you are gone, God can work through you. And it's so rare. It's like I haven't grasped it fully to even understand what this means, like to let God or life or the universe work through me and use me basically as a vessel for divine wisdom and infinite love. I don't even know what that means. It's like I say these lofty words. It's like I'm so far from them. But yeah. Jason, deep but true. Yeah, man. Hey, Victor. Good to see you. Hey, man. Sorry to hear about your pub. It's never easy to lose their pure souls, but at the same time, know that energy of your pub lives on within you if you allow it. It's a very beautiful thing. Yes, it does. It does continue to live on if I choose to keep it in my reality. Take care, my friend. Yeah, thank you, big man. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, completely lost my train of thought there, but yeah, I think we were talking about God, right? To finish up the sentence from the scripture. One whose destiny is so preordained obtains the Lord of the universe as his companion. I dedicate my body, mind, wealth, and all to Him. I totally sacrifice my soul to Him. Seeing and hearing, He is always close at hand. In each and every heart, God is pervading. Even the ungrateful ones are cherished by God. O Nanak, He is forever the forgiver. There's two interesting things in this. One is the forgiveness. Right? Like, even if we choose to suffer, God is fine with this. Like, He's got no problem with us suffering. And He forgives us for not worshipping Him, for forgetting Him, for being lost in the illusion of Maya. He's totally fine with that. I think He even loves that. And He forgives that. So that's the one part. The second part that comes up in this scripture over and over again, which I find really interesting, is like this sensation that of destiny, of everything is preordained, everything is already set in place. Oftentimes it's like it speaks on us wanting to serve the Lord, wanting to honor Him, wanting to connect with God and be one in praise. But in the end, the realization of the one just happens by grace, right? And it doesn't seem to be something that we can force in our life. These moments of awakening. And that brings up this very interesting question of, okay, then how much should I practice my spiritual practice? Well, I like Ram Dass sayings of like, okay, I practice because I do my practice because I have nothing else to do. What else am I supposed to do than just to do my practice? But I mean, like, this, sometimes there's this then longing coming up for me of like, okay, I want to serve you fully. And then is that only possible if I go live in a cave? I do month-long isolation, darkness retreats. I go live in a temple, learn from the sadhus, from some teachers. What is it? Like, what is my path? How does it even look like to dedicate and commit myself fully to this path? And am I doing it right now? I don't know. And like, even if I walk on this path and I go to temple, I just meditate 10 hours a day for the rest of my life, am I ever going to get there? And I guess it's the wrong question to ask, right? Because it seems like, as the Guru Granth Sahib Ji is saying, it's like it's already decided. It's already decided if you're going to merge with the one, die before you die in this lifetime, or if you're ever going to be forever emotionally attached to the illusion and ungrateful and suffering. It's like you can't do anything about it. But then it's like, but if I can't do anything about it either way, like what? How do I make choices then? It's like, and what does my life look like if I don't make any choices? If I just give myself fully to God right now, what is it that's going to flow through me? Well, and in the end, it's just, it is what it is. That's what I'm doing, basically, right here. It's like I don't have any purpose to do this live stream or talk to you. It's just what I felt like was happening, and then I just set up the cam, and it just happened. And here we are. Yeah. Deep. And then that's why I love this approach of appreciation so much. Unconditional infinite appreciation. Saying like, the best service I can do to reality is to appreciate it. Infinite appreciation of everything that is occurring. It's like, that's the only thing I can do. And it's a practice. I notice I can proactively do that. As I said, in the situation that the dog is dead, in the situation that I injured my ankle, there is a possibility always, like if everything is already predestined, it feels like there's also the paradox of free choice. There's always the freedom for me to choose if I want to appreciate this situation. And I love this practice. And that's what the psychedelics are showing a lot of the times as well. And it's even a practice in psychedelic space, I found. It's like, even if it gets dark and uncomfortable and I get nauseous and that's like, I can still proactively appreciate that state. And if it gets beautiful and blissful and it's like it raves on into infinite ecstasy, I can still, like, from the background awareness, appreciate that state. Not indulge in it, not be too attached to it, but just appreciate it. I want to smoke some Apacho. Thank you. I want to figure out how to make this live stream even more fun by putting on some music, or I don't know, bringing the chat into the screen. And by the way, thanks for being here, everybody. It's truly, I truly appreciate it. Appreciation. The plant teachers. Have you guys had any psychedelic experiences recently? Baba Yaga, your description sounds like your parents ate the dog, but hopefully your day gets better. What did I put into this description? The dog from my parents' diet. I'm gonna change it. Thank you. That's funny. I want to go into psychedelic experience soon, again. Sometimes with these things, I wonder, it's like, well, it's just a matter of feeling it out, but I was like, okay, I kind of injured my ankle. Do I want to go into psychedelic space? It's like, is it going to be affecting a high dose psilocybin session, or how much is it going to be affecting it? Am I going to feel the pain? Is it going to be helping me with healing the ankle, because you hear all these miracle healings happening? Or am I just going to feel it way more? And so I always hesitate a little bit to go into psychedelic space when something like this happened. Yeah, especially because the psychedelics can act so much on the body. It's a bit weird even. It's like, I wonder how. How is that possible? Baba Yaba had a few bad trips, scared to go back. Ooh, Mm. If you're open to share a bit more, I would love to. I would love to know. Scared to go back. Yeah, bad trips. Bad trips in a way that they were challenging and too challenging for you, or bad trips in the way that it's like they were bad, like bad, like proper bad. um, because it's interesting. There is like the saying in the psychedelic community that is like, there are no bad trips. There is only learning experiences, challenging experiences. But as well, it's like I found that bad trips do exist. It's like I haven't had many, maybe even not at all. I'm not sure, but it's like it's possible. It's definitely possible that something is just, well, it's an interpretation of our mind as well. But it's like bad trips are bad. What was it? I think it was Terence McKenna. You can look it up. It's like it's Terence McKenna about bad trips or something. That's what the video clip is called. I'm not entirely sure. And he said it's like bad trips. Yeah, guys, bad trips make bad sex look like no problem. It's like it's if it gets tough and if it gets bad, it can get very bad. 4 gram penis envy gave me a panic attack and made me feel like my hair was falling out. Had to get a buddy to come over and help me calm down. It was irrational and made me think the shrooms shut me out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's I 4 gram is a good dose. That's what's so risky about the psychedelics, right? Let me open the window. It's so much smoke. That's what's so risky about the psychedelics. Like they are so unpredictable. You could have had a 4 gram journey before, and then you go in again, and you are surprised. Mm. And then it's totally understandable and makes total sense that you're scared to go back in. Because you don't know what to expect anymore. And especially in this, like, with this sensation of a panic attack, it's like it can happen so fast, you know? And this spiraling out of control. This, like, there's always the potential that it can spiral out of control, and then it's a good question, what does that even mean? Like, but it's like, yeah, especially with the shrooms as well, sometimes it's like the mind can get so twisted that you don't feel in control anymore, and it's like you don't even know anymore how to calm yourself down, and then this mind space just like spirals you into panic and fear, and the trip just goes on and on and on, and it can be tough and traumatizing. And then the physical sensations, yeah, I've had a couple of those. It's like they can get scary. You're like, this is so irrational. Like it feels like my hair is falling out, for example. And you can say like, okay, yeah, when you know this, it's like in the moment you can calm yourself by saying it's like that's not what is really happening. But it's like in the moment it just really feels that way, and you're like convinced, 100% convinced that this is what is happening. And then it's like obviously there's worry coming in a little bit from the mind. But it's like that's almost like the practice, especially in those moments and in those irrational mind bending experiences, to say like, even this, I trust this. I embrace this, right? Coming back to the sensation that no self, no problem. But it's, yeah, in those moments, it's like our attachment to ourself and our body and our sanity and all of this is just coming up to the surface. And at times, it's just predestined for us to go into this bad experience, or we label as bad. Most I had was 5 grams one night, and it was incredible with lots of great insight and feelings. But I feel like the more I did shrooms, the worse they come up. Interesting. I also didn't take into account I had caffeine in my tea, which makes me anxious now too. So I don't know if that was the caffeine all along. Caffeine is a hard one. I stopped caffeine a couple weeks ago, and I feel better. Makes me anxious as well, a little bit. Or like it's just like so loaded. It's like it's a hard drug. Not a good combination with the psychedelics I've found. But yeah, see, it's like you can have positive experiences and then they humble you. I'm wondering, Yaga, what was the one single biggest lesson or insight you have received from this bad experience that you've had? And how has it improved your life? And it's like it's also interesting to then acknowledge this fear of being scared to go back in and see what is that all about? I've had moments like these where it's like I was feeling for a month or weeks I was not engaging in psychedelic space. And at one point it's like it's okay to give it time as well. It's like in a relationship and there was like a very challenging moment. So you can give it some time, reflect, part ways for now. But then it's like it's okay. When you say you're scared to go back, it sounds like there's something in you, some desire to go back. What is that about, right? What is that desire about? Why do you want to go back then? And then to kind of curiously introspect and inquire into that sensation, I have found led me, at least in certain moments, to a place where I was giving it enough space and time. And then it's like, yeah, but it's deeply connected to my sense of purpose. I really want to engage deeper in my practice, and I do see psychedelics as part of my practice. And then it's like it's a matter of courage then, right? This courage, being courageous and feeling the fear and doing it anyways. Maybe with a certain different set of preparations or a different setting, maybe that feels more safe to say then, okay, this fear that came up last time, this fear of losing my sanity, for example, I'm ready to face it head on. That's what happened for me, for example, with the ayahuasca. I had these ayahuasca experiences 3 years ago in the jungle, and I was so scared. Like the 7th night of this 14-day retreat, it scared the shit out of me. I was like, I'm never going to do this ever again, because it showed me my fear of death. and it was horrendous. And I couldn't navigate my body, and I was vomiting all over. Not all over. I kind of hit the bucket, but also kind of not. And then a year later, I was like, okay, I'm ready to face this fear of death head on again. And it took a year. And then it's just like it evolved into a beautiful experience, and the fear of death didn't even come up. So it's like it's this back and forth in this relationship with the psychedelics of like, at least that's what I found, is like of being humbled, mustering up the courage again and going in again, and then maybe being humbled a couple times in a row. And it's like, and you ask yourself, like, why am I going back? What am I doing? Or if your inquiry leads you to a different point, to be clear around this as well, and to say like, okay, now I have clarity. I don't want to go back. I don't feel ready, and you don't have to feel ready to go back. You don't have to use psychedelics ever in your life again. You're free to not to, right? Maybe this experience takes a lifetime to integrate. And also, yeah, you were adding on to this, not too sure what the insight was. It's hard to learn from an experience like that without assuming the reason for things. Maybe it was my time to step away in my life. I gathered the lessons now, I had to implement them in my life. See, yeah, that sounds like a beautiful insight. To say like, okay, maybe right now in my life I don't need to engage too much in psychedelic space over and over and over again, but take a step back and look at my life and see what am I doing here on this earth, and how can I implement all of these insights, because there might have been an overabundance of them over the course of my psychedelic path in my life. It's a good one. It's a good one. I found also that maybe not all, but with many people I talk to, and some friends of mine who are like overly indulging in psychedelic space, of like very, very, very frequently, especially also with the DMT. Some are just completely losing it, but for most it's like there's almost like a certain automatic mechanism in them that is like they force a break, because it's like it gets weirder and weirder and weirder, and at some points most people are like, what am I doing here? Like this is why do I keep going back to this DMT space? Why do I keep coming back to this? It just gets weirder and weirder. And everybody's finding their own journey through this. Right now, I'm not. This year, for example, I haven't had too many psychedelic experiences. Still kind of quite a few. Couple ayahuasca, my first amanita, couple LSD experiences here and there. But I feel like I'm taking it slow. For my whole path, actually, from the beginning when I first started to take psychedelics to now, I feel like I've been pacing myself. And then sometimes I wanted to go too fast, and then I burnt myself, and I learned also this lesson of like, hey, there's no rush in this journey of exploring psychedelic space, of exploring myself, of exploring reality. The only one that, like, who is the one that wants to rush into this journey? What am I expecting to get? It's like, coming back to non-attachment, great practice as well. Loving non-attachment. And then psychedelics at times, as you said, Yaga, with your 5-gram experience, that's like the end game of practicing non-attachment. Yeah, interesting, right? Yaga says, not doing them or any drugs have made it incredibly productive in other parts of my life. Maintaining a balance was the key for me. Everyone is different, and that's the great part. Yes, beautiful, beautiful that you can see this. And there's a time for this. There's time and space for this as well. I found it as well. It's like I enter kind of phases. Sometimes in phases I'm engaging more in psychedelic space, and then sometimes I'm just working in the background on my own things, reading books after books after books, or I don't know, sometimes I'm meditating more, sometimes less. And there's all these phases. One great phrase I have remembered and reintegrated recently as well is following my highest excitement. There's a classical Joseph Campbell quote. It's like, follow your bliss. I love this. Because my mind is like, I had all these plans and visions, and it's like, I want to do this and this and this. And it's like a lot of control. And sometimes I was disappointed by the end of the day that I wasn't as productive anymore. But following my highest excitement, oh yes, last week has been so good, because I've come to a point in my life where I'm like, when I connect to myself, I start, what is my highest excitement right now? And sometimes it's hard to differentiate, but in my core, in my essence, I kind of know of like, hey, I really want to do and study marketing right now. I really want to go build my website. I really want to go shoot this video. I really want to go do this live stream right now. I really want to go meditate. I want to go for a walk. Maybe I just want to go chill on my phone for a little bit. But really deeply introspecting and connecting it to my highest excitement. What does that even mean? Highest excitement. And I found for myself it doesn't mean like indulging in it's like distraction or pleasure too much. Because when I found I wanted to be productive, I distracted myself. And then it's like it's this balancing point. But why am I trying to distract myself? And I guess it's because what I was doing was not my highest excitement. Because when I'm completely engaged in what's my highest excitement right now, I'm like, wow, I have so much energy. And there's an effortless flow of awareness into whatever I'm doing. It's almost like circling back to what we said at the beginning of the stream. Letting God work through you, letting the divine work through you, and not you being in control of your life. I think following your highest excitement is almost like the most spiritual, whatever that word even means, spiritual thing you can do. Because that's what this life is about, right? It's like, what are we here for? That's also the part of the Guru Granth Sahib Ji and the spiritual path that I'm kind of, where I hold this paradox in my understanding of like, okay, one part of me wants to return to the source and realize the one and merge with the one forever in infinite love and peace. But then there's no life anymore. Like then it's just like Mahasamadhi, leaving. But it being embodied here, that's what the psychedelics are showing as well, like being embodied in this body, in this life, with my sense of self and the perception of duality that is still ingrained in my awareness right now. I guess the best thing I can do is follow my highest excitement. Really do what this body, what this character, what this personality here really wants to do. At the core, at the most authentic core of my being, saying like, what do I really, really want here? What do I really want to do? What excites me? What brings me joy? What brings me happiness? Still, and then I do that while still keeping in the background of my understanding and my awareness this other part of the paradox, that happiness is truly just found by appreciating each and every moment as it is. That's it. Being completely, fully satisfied with whatever is. Wow. And then still engaging with 100% responsibility and engagement in whatever I'm doing. Yaga's asking, what made you reach for psychedelics in the first place? What was the allure? Have you accomplished your goals? I love this question. I'm gonna answer in two parts. One part is what made me reach for psychedelics in the first place was curiosity, for me personally. So I discovered them when I think I was 15 or 16, and somehow Terence McKenna popped up on my YouTube. I don't even know how. just by magic, by God's grace. Terence McKenna popped up, and he was talking about shamanism and psychedelics. Ram Dass was my first kind of spiritual book I read, was Be Here Now. I remember sitting in school, reading the Be Here Now PDF on my phone. And I was like fascinated by it. And then kind of that connecting his kind of story with LSD and everything to spirituality. And Alan Watts as well. He was talking a lot about just life, and I loved listening to him. Still do at times, not so much anymore. And Zen Buddhism, and he also mentioned psychedelics like LSD and this and expanding your consciousness. And so I was like this kid, basically, this teen, 15, 16 years old, and I was like, I am insanely curious about this. Like I have to explore this. There was just like this deep inner knowing that I wanna go see what this is all about. Because I couldn't stop listening to them. I was like listening to all their trip reports, all the stories. And I enjoyed it so much. So it was just this curiosity that led me into the psychedelic space. In combination with also just like from the start on out on how can I, with this question of like, how can I utilize the psychedelic experience for my self-actualization, for my own personal development, building this identity, this character here on this earth, and my self-realization, my spiritual path, my practice of non-attachment, love, infinite love was one phrase that resonated with me when I was coming in. Oneness, right? Taking it as my practice, or making it part of my practice, and also getting these glimpses then. And so far, they have been some of the greatest teachers I have been blessed to meet in this life. So in that sense, have you accomplished your goals? Yes, because I was exploring. And I guess this exploration is still like a part of why I still go into the journeys. Because it's like, it feels like I'm just beginning on my path of psychedelic exploration. Like I have glimpsed a little bit of what's possible with the 8-gram mushroom journey, the 14-day ayahuasca retreat. What else? Some 5-MeO DMT. It's like I have glimpsed a little bit of what's possible, but it's like with all my research that I've done and the experiences that I've had, I know there's so much more, and I am scared as fuck to go into this space. I don't know, I'm just like a little scared kid to go further. But that's why I pace myself, and that's okay as well. But there's like this curiosity on what can consciousness do. Like, this is our ordinary state consciousness. This is it right here. And even there's like certain fluctuations at times, right? But at least for me, never as intense as in a DMT experience or whatever, or salvia or whatever. It's like what why is that part? What can consciousness do? And then connecting this to this deepening of my understanding of reality and truth and love, and saying like, I am that. I am consciousness. I am aware. And then I am aware when I take certain psychedelic journeys in completely otherworldly realms. It's fascinating to me that this is even possible. This is what keeps me going even. And then over the part and time, it's like it came in with like, okay, there's some emotional kind of healing that wants to happen. I'll let it happen along the way. There's some purification that wants to happen. My body is purging. I was like, and I let that happen as well. Spiritual purification, all the suffering in the psychedelic journey, it's just like it's showing all this attachment to wanting things to be a certain way and not another way, not fully embodying infinite love. Yeah, this is actually what it was and still is. It's like as a kind of my life purpose statement that I formulated a couple of years ago is I want to lead people to the realization of infinite love and infinite self-understanding by the embodiment of infinite infinite love and infinite self-understanding in my own life. In psychedelics are kind of one of the key areas of work, right, with this channel as well, of psychedelic actualization, of how I do this. Facilitating, preparing through education and integrating through coaching. That's kind of the modality that has led me on my path of my life. And there's just like this great passion around it. And as I walked on my path, obviously, as we said, these bad encounters, dangerous experiences, sufferings like from certain combinations, or it's like whatever is resulting out of this, the consequences of my choices of some psychedelic experiences, I'm also more aware of the dangers, of the risks, talking about those. But there's this intrinsic passion about the subject, and also about then not just using it for my own embodiment of infinite love and infinite self-understanding, whatever that even means, right? That's like a lifelong journey right there to try to grasp this, but also in my service, in my dharma. It feels like it's deeply connected to my dharma, to my purpose, to why I am here on this earth and what I am doing here. It's deeply intertwined with psychedelic work. And I guess that's not the case for many people. It's the case for many people, but for most it isn't. And that's totally fine as well, but that's like, when I think about it, I cannot imagine doing anything else with my life. And there might be a point where I'm gonna go a different path. And maybe not. That's why I'm almost curious about it, because there's like some people you hear or read about, even like the heaviest of heaviest psychonauts, some are putting the psychedelics aside. Terence McKenna even put them aside. L. Watts put them aside. Ram Dass put them aside to a certain extent. And then it's like, even when Ram Dass put them aside, it's like, what? He was even more passionate about exploring this space than I am. And that's where all the doubts are coming in, and I'm sharing a lot on this channel, right? A lot about my doubts as well, and taking these pauses and then feeling like something is still calling me back onto this journey, and then the doubts of like, oh, what's like the path of the shamanic facilitator, like, am I up for this? All this suffering, all the purification is like, why not just chill at the beach and, I don't know, make good coffee for other people? Yeah, but I hope this answers your question. Thanks for asking. Great question. Oh, these hairs are getting long. Next question. Do you view yourself as more of a user who just experiences, or a teacher who must share his findings, or both? Another really good question. I try to keep the balance of both. Well, for example, with this YouTube channel, it's really interesting. I kind of one part of me wants to document as much as possible, right? And also share as much as possible. But also I have set the rule for myself that like I never want to go into a psychedelic experience just because I want to share something. So that's kind of the foundation of it. I'm not going into a journey just because I want to share it with you. Like the initial intention and calling has to come from within, of like an authentic calling to go into an experience as a user, basically, as you said it, not as a teacher, but as a student, because I am an infinite student forever and ever, right? I'm learning myself. And then sometimes I choose to share the experiences. It's just like that. That's just like the natural consequence that I'm sharing most of my experiences. But also I do love to have my experiences on a personal level every once in a while. A lot of my experiences I'm not sharing here on this YouTube channel. A lot of trip reports of some of the craziest stories I haven't even shared on this YouTube channel. And some I don't feel even are necessary to share. It's like it's this deeply personal relationship with it that I want to keep alive. That's the core of it. And then the sharing and the teaching it's just a natural outflow of love, basically. Just like because I feel like I can't do anything else but serve in this space. And I feel like it feels like I'm doing a service. Basically my whole work, this whole channel and this like education and coaching, it's like it all feels like it's my act of gratitude for the psychedelics, because they changed my life in such a dramatic way that I am infinitely grateful, and there's nothing I can do to pay that back. But what I can do to pay back, to give back to them, at least that's what it feels like to me, is to share about my journey, to share about the relationship I have with each and every molecule and substance, what they're showing me, all the blissful, ecstatic experiences, but also all the dark and nasty experiences and humbling and challenging times in our relationship. And it brings me just like the greatest joy to do this. So it's basically all in service of the psychedelic. But the foundation is my experience and my authentic curiosity and desire as a user, right? As a student myself, to engage deeper. Never with the mindset of like, okay, I want to share something and that's why I go in. No, it's just I want to go in, then I go in, and then if it happens to be that I share something about it, I share something about it. If not, also good. So both, yeah. Baba Yaga, last question. Great. Part 1. Do you think researchers, I assume, wanting to test psilocybin have skewed findings because their intentions are more science-based rather than spiritual or something of that sort? Part 2, it feels like an unauthentic way of doing research because the intention does matter. Maybe that affects the trip or effects. Hmm. Let me let that sink in for a moment. I guess it depends on the researchers wanting to test the psilocybin, because it's not just psychedelic research, right? It's psychedelic research is the overall term, and just like a few things get released to newspapers or the press, or even the conferences. And then in psychedelic research, there is so many different branches, and it's like so many multidisciplinary fields are researching about this. And then obviously, yes, there might be a bias or a preference going into an individual research of like, hey, the neuroscientist really wants to see if it's just about the connections in the brain that are giving the positive effects, and some people want to extract the visionary mystical experience out of the psychedelics to just get the neuroscientific diversity effects of the substance without the psychedelic experience, basically. That's a bias, and if you look for this, then maybe your findings are gonna show a little bit of this. Maybe not. That's what research is there for, right? And then there's people who are deeply into their spiritual practice or into certain streams of thought regarding philosophy or psychology, and they go and conduct some research through their lens because that's what they're passionate about. And that's what it is, and there's more and more happening in the field. As the couple of conferences I went to, is like there's a good broad array of disagreement, healthy disagreement around so many different things of psychedelic research. There's more spiritual people coming in. There's a lot of research happening that is just looking at the phenomenological side of things. But the way the research is conducted obviously also affects the experience and the results of the research. So basically the research also, what I noticed, is just in its infancy. It's like we have no idea. Everybody is just saying that we don't know anything. We don't know anything about anything, basically. That's all the conclusions of all the talks I've heard. Which is funny. And then still we come together because it's like it's fruitful as well. And yes, and that's what it's some people are advocating for, is that the research is basically going into the direction that is also taking the just phenomenological subjective experiences of subjects into the picture, creating natural settings outside in nature, not just being in the clinic, which is obviously also deeply influencing and affecting the setting. Being there with like EEGs and cables and in this white room, and it's like yeah, right, that's how we're starting. That's okay, but that is also obviously having an effect on the results of the research. But yeah, I think my point with this part of the question is that it's not unauthentic research, and it's hard and not really possible to thank you deeply for this super chat. It's not, I don't like generalizing things like research, right? It's because it's this bigger picture perspective, and there's so many people, and all are doing their best, and some may have like some humanly perceived biased bad intentions, using psychedelics for warfare and improving military by sharing MDMA in military spaces, or improving nighttime vision in the jungle with ayahuasca. to kill people. It's like that's part of the research as well. Maybe it's like, and it's dark, it's nasty, and that's what you're saying as well. It's like it's there's the psychedelics themselves feels like in a certain point they don't really have a bias. Yeah, interesting, very interesting question. And the intention does matter, but there's some really beautiful and good people in the psychedelic research space that I've met, which are doing the best they can to really align with what's true for them, and that some are doing really really good work, and then some are doing a little bit like I'm like, why are you doing this work? Like, what's the intention behind this, and why are you conducting research in this specific way? I don't understand, and that's okay as well. So thank you, Baba Yaga, for that super chat. I deeply appreciate it. Can I do something for you? Can I like this? I gave it a heart. Thank you for your insights and work in this space. We need more people like you. Have a good rest of your stream. I have to get ready for work now. Enjoy your work. Thank you for all these questions and for your engagement, Yaga. I truly, deeply, deeply appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And see you. Maybe I'll hang around next Sunday as well, and we'll be in touch. I appreciate it. If anybody of you has any more questions, give them to me. I feel almost complete. Because it's been almost 1.5 hours, and I drank this whole tea. And I need to pee. Oh, that was a rhyme. And I'm getting a bit hungry. And I suppose I want to rest this leg upwards and not downwards a little bit, so I can, so that my ankle is not like 5 times the size that it is now. Man, it's so swollen. Oh my god. Can you see this? I don't know if you can see this, but this is swollen. And it hurts. Whew, this is fun. I haven't had such an injury in such a long time. Yeah, I felt like this was a good stream. Really. It was. We went deep. Boys and girls, brothers and sisters. We went deep into some spiritual perspectives on suffering, on exploring the appreciation of the human experience, psychedelic work, bad trips, a lot of very, very interesting topics. Death. Oh, death is such a good one. The greatest mystery of all of them, huh? Death. I'm scared. Scared of death. But also looking forward. Yeah, thank you everybody for being here. I'm gonna end this here. I have some more work to do. Basically on the website. The link is in the video description. Like, check that out. That's the website I'm working on right now. It's about the Psychonauts Path to Purpose program. It's officially there. We're gonna create an inner circle community of Psychonauts, empowering each other to actualize their life purpose and basically integrate the psychedelic experiences to really transform our everyday, day-to-day experience. And also, one-on-one coaching is something I'm really passionate about offering, kind of helping individuals, helping you transform your psychedelic, your own unique personal psychedelic insights into everyday change and really transform your life. So check out that link in the video description. Website is not fully ready, but I'm creating kind of a little cool story. As I said, studying marketing, writing copy, it's a very interesting journey. Give me some feedback on it on some of my YouTube videos, or shoot me a message on Instagram if you have any more questions or want to give me some feedback. There's a link for Instagram in the video description as well, I think. Otherwise, I'll say thank you very much, everybody, for being here with me today. I'm gonna sing a little song as a closing, and we're gonna end the stream. What is a good one here, huh? We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. Hoof and horn, those who die shall be reborn. Corn and grain, those who fall shall rise again. We all come from the one God, and to him we shall return like a sparkle of the fire, reaching for the open sky. We all come from the one God, and to him we shall return like a sparkles of the fire, reaching for the open sky. We all come from the one, and to one we shall return like a ray of light, reaching for infinity. We all come from the one, and to one we shall return like a ray of light, reaching for infinity. Oh yes, happy Navaratri. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain going to the ocean. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. Hoof and horn, those who die shall be reborn. Corn and grain, those who fall shall rise again. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return. Thanks, everybody. I love you all. I deeply appreciate you all. Oxen, my brother, going strong. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. You can, if you just tuned in, you can rewatch this live stream even though you can't engage with me anymore. It was packed with very interesting conversations. I'm gonna end this here and see you soon. Bye.